things that we often get questions about, I would say number one would be hydration. And so that's kind of where I'm going to start off at. Does anybody know, how do we know if we're drinking enough water, or who thinks they have their hydration on point?
90 ounces of water a day.
90? Where do you get 90? How do we know? Your pee is clear. So most runners and most athletes that we work with, I would say a lot of athletes are probably underhydrated. So I always like to start with that, even if nobody has a question on hydration, just because if I can get one person to look at the color of their urine, I'm probably doing my job pretty good, right? There is no one indicator. Everybody's going to be a little bit different, right? So one person might need a gallon. If you're a smaller runner, you probably don't need a gallon, right? Mostly if you're bigger, you probably lose more sweat, but not everybody loses the same amount of sweat or the same amount of electrolytes or any of those things. It's very individualized. But you can kind of know if you're pretty well hydrated if you look down in the toilet and your urine is light lemonade. If you go into exercise with light lemonade, that's probably the best way that you can start off exercise, right? You're really well fueled and your urine is light lemonade. We start to get into issues with like cramping, dehydration, especially as miles get really long. We're out there for a long time and we started off dehydrated. You just can't make up for that, especially going into a race. So really practicing drinking water. There was probably one point when I was a little bit better about it and I would try to drink a bottle of water, like a, I don't know, 24 ouncer before I went on a run, because just even getting used to having some water in your stomach is probably good training for when you're out there on race day and you're drinking water on the course, things like that. Something good to know, how much water or how much sweat you're losing through fluids that you're losing through sweat, is to weigh yourself before and after. We always say that if you lose more than 2% of your body weight, so depending on whatever, I'm not going to do calculations in my head or even pretend like I can do mental math very well, but 2% of your body weight, 0.02 times your current weight. That's how many pounds that you should be losing at max when you weigh yourself before and after a run. So everybody's a little bit different. Some people will take in enough fluids to prevent that 2% body weight loss. But if you're not taking in enough fluids, you probably will be losing more than that 2%. So try that out on your next run. I know that I recently did a run that was over an hour and a half, and I didn't bring any fluids with me, and I lost 4 pounds. And I really never weighed myself before, but I've been talking more and more about hydration, just trying to promote it with runners. And 4 pounds is kind of, that was more than my 2%, I think, when I pulled out my iPhone and didn't do mental math. Other things is utilizing electrolytes. So different products are going to have different amounts of electrolytes. You do lose mostly sodium in your sweat, and if you're not taking in a product like a Gatorade, Gatorlights, even like a Noon or some of the different electrolyte products that they have here, you can get those electrolytes through things like eating regular meals. So salty meals before and after exercise. You can help replenish some of that salt that you're losing, but you can always use a product like an electrolyte product, things like that. Does anybody have any hydration questions? Nobody asked a question on hydration, but I always like to touch on it, just because if I can prevent an athlete from getting like heat stress or something like that on the day of a hot and humid race, hopefully I'm doing my job really well, or if I can get people to look at their urine, that's also a good way to know if I'm doing my job well. I want to say like 5 to 7 milliliters per kilogram per hour, like